kind of like a, I think people like Mike because that's kind of a unique kind of character.
And I
love
you just see how games of possession how they mean more. I think the U.S. is going to obviously win.
It involves the coach or an assistant coach doing a helicopter with his penis style thing to the players under the guise of hazing or something. Yeah. UCSF, right. And we
don't need to fully get into it, but a helicopter I have an image in my mind of what that is.
He was holding his flaccid penis, as I understand it, and like doing the making a helicopter
like a rotor motion
with his penis. Yeah.
Now, I haven't played baseball at a very high level.
It's one of the new rules.
Yeah, nor do I watch it, but I don't. I'm trying to figure out what the argument for that could be.
Wait, okay, let's see. Three former players identified John Doe in the Barry Drugger's former. It's not. I mean, it's a gray area of whether this is funny or not. Described a culture in which, quote, it was normal to see former assistant coach, blah, 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 naked on the field or in a window swinging his penis in a helicopter fashion while the entire team and the head coach watched. That's an ESPN article.
That's an assistant coach who would do that?
There's I'll let you guys read the whole story, but yeah, it was the longtime head coach of USF baseball coach who was eventually fired for
wow.
If I remember correctly, it seemed kind of like locker room hazing sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Clearly taken to the point of that enough people were like, I really don't like this. But it was it was contained in that universe.
I feel like with a lot of stories like that, it's like the story of the abusive behavior or whatever is like the headline, but then the thing that you should be like reading between the lines is like, this guy is like a fucking asshole. Like,
right.
You can't really like put as evidence that like this guy just like sucks and is unpleasant to be around and is just like emotionally manipulative and abusive. But like that's what I read between the lines in like all these stories. Which like the other shit obviously like it all matters, but like these people are probably just like horrible to be around. Like swinging your dick in a helicopter is bad, but like the type of person who would do that is like itself already bad.
Totally. Like if yes, there's a scenario where that kind of behavior like is just juvenile and goofy, but if it's such that it is getting written about, if it's gotten to the point where it's like getting written about in ESPN, it's like clearly there's all this other stuff that makes it a sinister dick swinging as opposed to a playful dick swinging. And here on the Nothing But Respect podcast, we are all about playful dick swinging, which of course is the intro we planned. My name is Harry Krinsky. I am joined, as always, by Patrick Redford. And Patrick, we have a very special guest. Can you provide an intro for this guest that you have introduced to us? And I have something nice to say about our guest afterwards.
Joining us this week is our senior San Francisco correspondent, Eamon Whalen, a writer who's written for Mother Jones, among other publications, almost exclusively about influencer culture, the bus and haircut, things of that nature. And so we sent him to as many all-star activations as we could in San Francisco. Eamon, it seems like you're doing well. No cap?
Yes. No cap.
Did you cross up Chris Brickley at the hoop bus?
I didn't. I did. I didn't go to that much All-Star fanfare, but on Saturday I had a couple like perfectly timed, you could say celebrity sightings, interactions that made me feel like totally satisfied with my All-Star experience. And yeah, I didn't go to any of the nightlife, but I had two pretty perfect experiences during the day on Saturday.
Oh, let me hear.
happened?
Yes. What? So you're in SF. You live in SF right now. The All-Star game was in SF. Probably not going to talk about the boring stuff that actually happened on the game, but the activations are what we are curious about.
Yeah.
The celebrity.
I'm outside the game.
Yeah. So what? Who do we see?
A very long walk on Saturday. It was a beautiful day. We've had a bunch of rain here lately, so it was a nice, sunny, brisk SF day. And I walked down from the ferry building down the piers for a while, past the baseball stadium. I'm like, I'm gonna go check out Chase Center, see what's like going on around there, all this stuff. I go up to the Chase Center Plaza, where you didn't need a ticket. You had to go through security, but you didn't need a ticket before to get in the arena. And I time it, and as I'm walking in is at the exact same time as Shaq, Kenny, and Chuck are walking up to the inside the NBA set, and there's not that many people yet, and they're kind of like getting ready, and so Ernie is kind of doing this thing where he's going to each seat and he's kind of pointing at them to the crowd and being like hyping them up, and people are cheering. But like, as we have, you all have probably been aware of, Charles Barkley, not a fan of San Francisco, famously. And so every time they pointed at Chuck, it would be like, boo, boo, boo. And then Shaq turns in his chair and he starts kind of mouthing, like whispering, "Fuck you, Chuck. Fuck you, Chuck." And then everyone starts chanting, "Fuck you, Chuck," like super loud. And then finally, like, Chuck has not turned, you don't know. And then he's like in his like spinny chair. And then all of a sudden he goes, so he's like got his back turned. And then all of a sudden he goes like, middle fingers up.
That's beautiful.
It's just like, and then the "fuck you, Chuck." Shaq did it several more times before, like after that. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna have a better experience than that. Walk through Soma, go see some of the day parties at the clubs in Soma, and walking down Market, and I just see like a shoe store on Market where someone's rapping inside. And I'm like, oh, okay. He finishes his set like 30 seconds after I walk in, and he's like, "And we got the legend Too Short coming up next." And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, a Too Short show? And there's like 50 people tops in this shoe store. And it's a big shoe store. There's not that much of a crowd. And then Too Short's doesn't have his DJ's fucking up, like the music isn't starting, so he's just kind of holding court for like 15 minutes, just like talking to the crowd, and then he's like, "Oh, I see my guy Mista Fab in here."
Wow.
And then I like turn to my left, and I'm just standing next to Mista Fab, like directly next to me. And then me and Mista Fab started shooting on one of those, like, it wasn't like an arcade thing, but it was like set up like that. Like, it wasn't like we were scoring, but we both just started shooting in this thing to pass the time. So, and then I was like to Mista Fab, I'm like, "You need to tell Steph to shoot a shot from half court tomorrow at the All-Star game." And, did you see what happened?
I did. I'm like, I can't tell if you're joking. Did you really? Do you think you conveyed that message?
How was Mista Fab's jumper?
It was pretty good. It was pretty watery. We took turns with like a little, there's a little 5-year-old there that we were kind of letting take turns in between us rebounding for him. But
hell yeah,
maybe Steph has been doing training.
I have a little weird little Mr. Fab story, which is in my childhood, we had season tickets to Oracle in like 2000, or like a quarter of season tickets, whatever. We'd go to a bunch of Oracle games at the same place at like 2004, 2005, and Mista Fab was in our section.
So nice.
He also had tickets. So between being like 9 and 13, I probably watched a basketball game with Mista Fab every week. So yeah, no, he's about it. Like we're talking Troy Murphy, Ike Diagu era. Mista Fab's there, asses in seats every single day.
Beadrins.
Yes, exactly.
And so then to cap off this story, what made it such a epic SF day is that then Too Short does his 3 songs, Blow the Whistle, goes crazy.
Blowjob Betty.
And he I walk out. He didn't. I was really hoping for Freaky's Tales, but he didn't. And then I walk out to market, and it's the start of the Lunar New Year parade right then. So then I just walk into the Lunar New Year parade, and it was like successive timing. I will say I did not notice All-Star Weekend installation in the Lunar New Year parade, but I could have missed it.
Dude, that is honestly
That's great.
Yeah.
It was just the timing of it. None of it was planned. It was just so. After that, I was kind of like, I don't need any more All-Star exposure. And I got home, and instead of watching the All-Star Saturday Night, I rewatched Wolves Thunder.
So that is a good segue to my. We're having Eamon on because he is my friend. He's a prolific ball knower, but also like in a specifically like Wolvesy way. Where like I will just be minding my business on a Wednesday, and then I'll get like 5 texts from Eamon that's just like Luka Garza eyes emoji, like Rob doing stuff, like okay Josh Minot, and I'm I'm living my life, like please stop bothering me, but like the man knows what he's doing. I
just DM'd you yesterday like Jalen Clark, like look at this defense on SGA.
But I was mostly off the grid this weekend in a remote wood-style cabin for my birthday. And so I did not consume 1 second of All-Star content, except at some point my friend showed me his phone and showed me the Wemby Skills Challenge thing. So my first question for you guys is like, how was the particular San Francisco-ness like part of the All-Star weekend, and did the city seem like incidental to the proceedings, or was there like a particular Bay character to it?
My read, also as somebody who kind of really passively consumed a lot of this, is there was a little bit of the like Oakland fan service stuff. Like this is all boiled down to like I got to see an extremely out of shape Baron Davis dribble a basketball. Which feels to me, I can't even think of anything else I would want out of any of this stuff. So there was that. But honestly, no, it didn't feel like a particularly, Oakland, Bay Area, unique to SF thing. But to me, that almost speaks more to the sort of waning cultural relevancy or even importance of the All-Star game in general. Like we talked last week about the meek attempts at the Super Bowl to like ingratiate itself with New Orleans culture. I almost don't even think there was an attempt here. It was like the only culture that was being experienced was a culture of like TNT, of the fact that or of the NBA selling itself to 12-year-olds or something, as it should, I guess.
Yeah. The aforementioned Charles Barkley hate for San Francisco did lead to him patching that up by donating $250,000 to Glide Memorial Church and volunteering there on Saturday.
That's rad.
He did have a little bit of segment of which to listeners is a church in the Tenderloin. And Charles Barkley had been like, it's one thing to talk about San Francisco in terms of open air drug use and homelessness, but he was talking like it was like legitimately dangerous, like bullets flying type of thing. To the point where like he'd say it and Draymond would be like, what do you do? like they would be like, dude, no, like stop, like you're not like
you never had fentanyl, Chuck.
Open a restaurant in the Tenderloin.
Take a pound of fentanyl to kill you, Chuck.
He had a little segment where he had his tail between his legs and was just like, there are a lot of people doing good work.
That's beautiful. I was surprised to see that Ernie Johnson went to bar part-time, but it's like that's where the fun's at. You got to show up. Like I understand
that was super weird. Yeah.
I have a very tiny Baron Davis story, Bay related. I was at Baron Davis's first or second ever live rap set for his rapping alter ego that is based on his corresponding NFT called Bart Oatmeal. I think it's a bear or something like that. But
I know that he's deep in the game. So
I was at a show at a Rock Marciano show at the New Parish. Great rapper.
Wow.
Yep. Jay Worthy was opening for him, who is, among other things, Grimes' stepbrother.
Okay.
So he's Elon Musk's step brother-in-law, who is also a LA pimp style rapper. I kind of describe Jay Worthy as like if Malibu's Most Wanted actually worked. and Jay Worthy's like, I don't come to Oakland and I'm going to have a show. He's a Jay Worthy show. I'm bringing out a legend right now. And I'm like, who's it going to be? And then it's Baron Davis. And I was just like, oh shit, this is awesome. And for his second show, not bad.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't terrible. It wasn't
showman.
really good, but it's hard to rap live.
Did it motivate you to buy any Baron Davis NFTs? Because I've lost tens of thousands of dollars, but I'm still holding. So I'm hoping he can turn this around and like really recoup some of that value. Because the bill collectors are coming after my ass.
Thinking in decades in terms of boom dizzle coin. I was once at a bar. This is the last Baron Davis story that we had talked about.
I have a Baron Davis story.
That's all. That's round table.
I was once at a bar and heard Baron Davis. A bar, I should say, Ray's. The one of 3 times I was ever at Ray's in the Lower East Side in New York with a bunch of like 19-year-olds.
Likely place to find them.
Yes, exactly. It was for like whatever. It was for a happy hour for this company I used to work at. Baron Davis is there. There are 2 DJs, 2 kind of like 23-year-old white guys DJing live at Ray's in downtown Brooklyn. One of them wearing a gray Barry's Boot Camp shirt, which I thought was actually very funny. Baron goes up to them. He is there inexplicably. No other famous people are there, not even close. He goes up to the DJs, whispers in their ear, and then walks away. And then about 5 to 7 minutes later, one of the DJs throws on the Ignition remix by R. Kelly and points at Baron Davis in a sort of like, I got you, bro. Connecting for me the dots that Baron went up, whispered to these kids to play Ignition remix by Baron Davis. I mean, by R. Kelly, and got what he wanted. And then they played it at Ray's. So, no, I mean, he's the king, He can do nothing wrong.
I love Baron Davis.
Yeah.
My Baron Davis story is that my dad's partner's ex-husband taught Baron Davis in LA when he was like coming up.
Wow.
And so like they remained friends. I don't remember. He later went on to teach Gabe Vincent math in Stockton at high school. So the network of somewhat compromised beardy California point guards with like 4th degree connections runs super deep.
That's awesome.
I got lore. And so when the Kings played the Clippers in like 2008 or 09 or some shit, I got to like meet Baron Davis after the game. And I shook his hand. He told me to stay in school, and it was great. And it worked. So thank you, Baron Davis. Like I wouldn't be the podcaster I am today without him. So big influence.
During the first Obama run, my cousin, who I have family in the East Bay, my cousin would sell T-shirts outside of Oracle that was the Baron Davis Kurylenko dunk, but it was Obama on McCain Photoshop.
Wow.
Great artifact from that era.
Dude, are you selling these on the BART Bridge between the station and the stadium? Because that's a beautiful place.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. That is where I was picturing too. Like that's where they would get sold.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Like the overpass, like walkway from BART.
During the last A's game, there was someone selling mushroom chocolates there. And like, it's like, this is like a cultural event. It's the last time. So I bought some. They're kind of ass, but they're pretty cheap. So what did you expect?
Okay. While you were gone, Patrick, the All-Star game weekend was, boring as usual, I would say. And there's the classic Monday morning quarterbacking going on about how do we fix the All-Star game? How do we kind of whatever? And my take about it this year is I don't care. I have given up. I don't care about fixing the All-Star game. I've moved from like wrestling with this idea to like basically apathy, and in a way where I'm like, I'm pretty much at peace with it. Like this to me, the All-Star game is the NBA selling itself to young kids, right? Kids who care about an accumulation of All-Stars, and like that's not that's not what adults should be concerned about. It's like it does kind of seem like they missed. It seemed like it was a little too corporate, a little bit boring. It doesn't seem like people are playing defense, but it's just like it's never going to be good anymore. It's an event for children, and it should just be. That's what it should be. It's turning into like perhaps it'll eventually just be a 2K tournament that we can watch.
Yeah, like the very like concept of an all-star game to me totally makes sense in like a broadcast television 1980s ass context where like you have two channels, you get to watch like the Charlotte Hornets play one game a year, and then like Larry Johnson's in the all-star game. You're like, oh, what's up with Larry Johnson? But like that doesn't make sense in a world with like the internet. And so maybe the future is just like 2K tournaments and this like what if the celebrity game is like the centerpiece every year?
It's what I think about the most, for sure. Or like the discrete whatever stuff afterwards. This has been said, and I don't think we'll ever get it, but like the only thing that would like truly bring the juice back is a one-on-one tournament.
Rachel Mitchell asked And about that, and he was like, hell yeah, I'm down.
Right. Which would be
of all the guys.
Yeah, he would be
the one.
My only other few takes I saw was the Draymond All-Star game. Draymond kind of bombastically shitting on the idea that they're rising stars. And this was this whole thing like, oh, Draymond's bashing the league. To me, completely plant, totally set up. Adam Silver told him to do it. No chance. Any other way. Second thing, Shaq walked out with a Boston Dynamics research robot that then hit a little nay-nay. Complete final form of the Shaq shilling kind of like post-human project is that. I mean, we're one step away from Shaq like on a computer with a Palantir, missile thing being like, these are the best missiles I've ever seen. Like,
well, the Draymond thing is interesting because like he is so transparently like he works on TNT during the playoffs. Like he's like TNT's guy. And like we've talked about this before, but like the way that he is like a genius on the basketball court is totally emphasized by the way that he is like a moron off the basketball court.
Yes.
And so like, not to be a boomer, but a guy averaging 8 points a game talking about how the game is cooked is just kind of like, shut up and grab a rebound, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the idea? The only sort of interesting idea, but I almost immediately was like, no, that probably wouldn't be as cool as it sounds, is the 4-team thing that they did, but then there's a team that is the snubs that they do a voting cutoff. And it's like, but then it would just be gamified, I feel like, because people would be like, oh, once that appeared, it's like, it'd be like ranked choice voting. It like sounds better in theory, but then like people gamify it because it's available. But that kind of made me, if you can prick the pride and egos of people a little bit, I feel like is the only way to sort of, and I think that's what they were trying to do with the Rising Star entry, but I just don't think it would work. But that kind of piqued my interest.
But imagine being a snub like Domantas Sabonis or someone. You have to like tell your family and your coach and everything like, hey, I'm actually not going to get the like only 4-day break we get over the season because I have to go play on a team of people who our whole shared identity is that we're like not good. So sorry.
How far away are we from like fully leaning into the internet sludge of all of this and having the teams, instead of being East or West, be like hoopers versus bucket getters or whatever, or like ethical hoops versus foul baiters, or the
well, it's interesting because like I think Giannis talked about this, and like the way the WNBA does it with Team USA against everyone else is kind of interesting, but like they keep trying to draw these like distinctions and do it like this year with the draft being kind of rigged to be like young guys, old guys, international guys. Like they just keep inching to like the logical endpoint to a lot of this is like a race war all-stars. Like
Patrick, are you accusing them of social engineering?
No, I mean, it is true, though. It would be like if we're really going to somersault into the id of the internet, then it should be like white guys versus black guys, or like bucket getters, or hot guys versus ugly guys. Like that those are the two, like full internet id distinctions we could make.
Well, like one-on-one would actually be cool. Like Unrivaled just did a big one-on-one tournament.
Really cool.
And that was really fun to watch. And like people took it seriously because like if you just get your ass got, then it's like that's on you. And like there's real pride at stake. But like the thing I always keep coming back to when I think about like not so much like how to fix the All-Star game, but the phenomenology of people like opining on how to fix the All-Star game, is that like we should not want it fixed. Like the thing that makes the NBA good, that like actually moves the NBA forward and is like makes it relevant, is like the playoffs, which to me is like totally mutually exclusive with the All-Star game mattering. Like you should want the games to matter, to be like their best when they matter the most, and to have that like drawn into coherence. And then making all these old guys go like actually try hard and injure themselves running into each other in like a meaningless game in February will make the playoffs worse. And so the thing that's always been strange to me is like, sure, the NBA has like, they should try to fix the All-Star game, whatever, like that's their problem. But like doing so in a way that leverages their stars more is like bad for their thing that actually matters about their product.
God, that's an excellent point, and it actually frames this whole, because the main critique, if you were to distill it in one word, is like the All-Star game, they're not competitive anymore. But what your point is, this is actually the most competitive thing to do, is to like rest your body as best you can so that you can be the best when the games matter the most. So it's a very good point.
Yeah, it's like the thing that's fun about the NBA is basketball, and like the basketball is going to be good in April when like the Nuggets and the Thunder are trying to kill each other. And like it's like, do you actually want that, or do you want like Nikola Jokic to defend a Shea pick and roll really hard and like put him on the floor and break his clavicle? Like
right.
I think you just need to have a little perspective here.
Yeah.
No, that's a very good point. Okay, the compliment I was going to pay you earlier, I mean, is that you came prepared with a set of run of show suggestions that absolutely hit it out of the park. From
That's true.
Sent me on a million different rabbit holes. One of which I will tease right now, is the Cameron exclusive of Big Baby Davis's pre-jail interview. But before we dive really into that, I do want to actually get to some basketball. So let's talk. Let's get a little Wolves Wolves update. There's a few. The Wolves have been a meandering team this year. They've had they're confusing because they have obviously the probably top 3 most exciting young players in the game, and they made this weird trade, and it's played out like not perfectly, but I wouldn't say it's not 5-alarm fire. Where are you at in terms of your spirits as a Wolves fan around this sort of like choppy season for the Wolves?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I definitely sense that. I thought that there was going to be some regression because even pre-cat trade, because of what last year went so well. Like it went almost as, Western Conference Finals not included. It went about as well as it could have gone, especially regular season. Like they had such good injury luck. They just like the defense was so good. They were just so locked in every night, and they had a certain like trying to prove something every night, and were playing very hard. So the regular season was like so fun to watch. And then they had that epic, I think like for every Wolves fan, after you beat the Nuggets in Game 7, it was just like, okay, so are we sweeping the Mavs? Are the Mavs getting 2 games? Or are we going 7 with the Celtics? Like we climbed the mountain. Like this is coasting. I think I even texted Patrick a version of that. Like, yeah, that was our hardest test. Like it's rings time.
That's how I felt too.
You were walking around with your chest puffed out, just like it was crazy.
Uh-huh.
And also like that Wolves Nuggets series was the best series of the playoffs last year to me by like a significant margin.
Yeah. And so I was like, it can't go as well. There's going to be some regression. And then there was sort of this looming cat situation where it was more. I was like, they're gonna run it back one season and trade him next summer probably. And then that trade coming like 3 days before, media day was Monday and the trade happens Friday. And that's sort of like Tim Connolly's MO, is that he like gives no fucks, nothing leaks, and then he just pulls this like big ass trade. And
can I actually wait? Can I cut you off really quick? Because I have a question about Cat, which is what was because I'm sure you could probably go 6 hours on your changing relationship to the probably most frustrating superstar of the last 20 years. But if it's Cat pre maybe the last 2 years as a Wolf, Cat in the sort of Twin Towers era, and then Cat now, where was your relationship changing over those 3 eras?
I've always been, well, not always. I was very high on him, and I have remained a Cat apologist. And there is a lot of revisionism amongst Wolves fans now, acting like I was one of the last people on Cat Island, even amongst Wolves fans that I know, like Wolves fans that are very locked in. Like everyone was very sick of him. I just thought the perception got so out of control compared to like watching him every night. And again, like I could always admit his very obvious glaring faults, like does some of the dumbest fouls, dumbest things I've ever seen on a basketball court, can have some of the worst body language ever. But like I would just tell people, like, you trade him, I'm like, dude, Karl Anthony Towns don't grow on trees. Like you don't get a fucking 7-footer who can shoot 50, 40, 90 and can run the floor like that and can beat people off the dribble. Like I get it that he's cringe, but it's that, and I was so proud in the Nuggets series because he like guarded Jokic. He was a big reason why we won that game 7, because when our offense wasn't doing shit, he was scoring, and then he has that putback to seal it. And I was just like, oh my God, it's finally like he's overcoming his demons. Like I've never seen an athlete where all of his flaws are so clearly between his ears. And so it kind of breaks your heart watching him. And then he just shits the bed so badly in the conference finals. And even then I was a little bit like, okay, like fuck, maybe he isn't. And I still, I still have a little bit of like show it in the playoffs, but I am like, I do feel vindicated, and like that the online perception of people who don't watch him every night, it just got so far from like the actual reality of like him as a player. And it's also hilarious now to see like Knicks fans and him, an all-star starter where he never even got close to that as a Wolf. Like the market thing is very clear.
Yes.
But what do you think of him playing in New York? Because I can't say that I watched a ton of it. And then I will say I was in Minneapolis for Christmas for his homecoming. And we did a really, really cringe, embarrassing, like triple tribute acting like he was, had won like multiple rings. And then just like it was just like, we traded him. Why are we acting like, it was such a weird mixed messaging. Like, we love you, Cat, even though we just traded you for 2 like less than good players because of the salary thing. And then they just kill us, It was so weird. Like it was such a Minnesota sports thing of just like, feigning to him. So that's where I'm at with him. It's like complicated, but I just felt like people need to be a little bit real about how talented he is.
I have a theory that I've just came up with that I want to run by both of you guys. I think if you look at like the Cat Ant sort of personality split and like the inherent kind of like hooper bucket getter fracture there, and then look at the Wolves ownership situation as this like this very contested transition of power between like an old like menace country club little freak man and then these 2 just like dead-eyed hedge fund guys who have like Eric Schmidt and Mike Bloomberg as part of it, and the way they made this trade to like deal with the second apron. My argument is this: understanding like all of that, like the political economic schism, the basketball schism, is understanding the Wolves, understanding them. My theory is they are this single team where like if you get it, you will understand like the operative deal with like all of the NBA. Like to understand the whole league, understand the Wolves is the theory.
Oh, let's expand on that a little bit.
I love it, dude. This is we got to have Patrick as cooking music. No, I get
I'm
what
flattered because Minnesotans famously we like when we're mentioned. We like we inferiority complex. We like when
you have seeded these takes in me. This is your fault. Like you get all right. So let's go through it. Like Ant and Cat, like they are such funny, like strange teammates that were like, they're both fairly ball dominant. They both have totally different demeanors. Like Ant's whole thing is like, I'll kill you. And Cat's is like, ah. So like, right. That's a strange little split there, right? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and they both, the other thing I would say about Cat is that his teammates have seemed to uniformly love him with the exception of Jimmy Butler.
Right.
Like he is a very, very beloved teammate. And there's a very interesting article early in the season when like the chemistry was really bad and then it kind of got back. It had kind of reset itself. And there's an article in the Star Tribune owned by Glenn Taylor, by the way, owned by the owner of the Wolves, local newspaper. And it was about the group chat and how the vibes were corrected in the team group chat. And it was all about team group chats. And I thought it was very NBR coded.
Yeah. Wow. I got it.
And someone asked like, what something about like Towns, and it was just like, oh, Towns was the most active in the team group.
I love that.
So many memes, like so many like he was like the life of the party in the group chat, and so I was like, that is very, and I think there's been a weird kind of fucked up vibes on the team, and part of it I think is like Cat being this kind of ray of sunshine to a lot of the other teammates, and then also Towns and Edwards were like legitimately very good friends. Like they were very close. They say they text after almost every game still. If you see that, they would ride to practice together. Like that video I posted that's like, going to be in a museum one day of them listening to freestyle Lil Baby while they drive to practice. It's like real homies.
The notion of Cat dropping like grape juice boys memes that everybody already saw a week ago in the Wolves chat, and that being actually like super essential to team building is so like that actually does make sense. No, I mean it really does as this like lovable, kind of like everybody rowing in the right direction, like
keeps the mood light.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Patrick, I agree.
And very dour this season, and very like, oh, we're fucking up, and so that's been the thing, has been that the regression and the up and downness of it has been, I just call it the like, it's so fucking over, we're so fucking back. Because this season we had like 6 consecutive 3-game losing streak, 3-game winning streak, 3-game losing streak, 3-game winning streak. And last year, the only time we had a 3-game losing streak was against Denver in the playoffs.
Wow.
In those 3 games that then so it was like, the fans don't really know what to do with that. It feels like the world is falling. And then a 3-game winning streak is enough to be like, oh, I got our shit back. We got our shit back together. We're back to last season. And then we lose 3 again. And then the other thing is that we beat really good teams, and then we'll lose to the Bucks without Giannis and Lillard, or lose twice in a row to Portland at the beginning of the season, or lose to the Wizards at home when they're on their 16-game winning streak. Like a lot of it is like they sometimes just bullshit and they play down to competition, play up to competition. But the tough thing about this sort of CBA, like the trade wasn't, everyone knows all the reporting. Like if you look into it, yeah, you're like, oh, this is a salary cap trade. That's very obvious. But for sort of casuals and like even the way the team is selling it, if you only looked at sort of team statements and stuff, it was framed as a basketball trade.
Right.
And so like casual fans are just like, why did we trade our second best player? This is so stupid.
Yeah. Why Dante doesn't even do fire reacts in the group chat? Like, what's going on?
Don't get me started about.
Now they're both injured, and it's actually become like, it's been a weird thing where Finch, the coach, was not playing the young guys. And like now the season, we've gotten like second life and are like, have our best record of the year, or like best winning percentage, and seem like we're on a certain amount of momentum. Just had a best win of the year against the Thunder. And it's because he's like playing these new guys like Dillingham, Terrence Shannon Jr., Jalen Clark, little Luka Garza. So it's been frustrating, but I don't. And the other thing is that I have been like, there was a lot, like Wolves fans didn't really exist before like 3 years ago. Like in the sort of post KG era, pre Ant era, that was a dead zone. Like it was not cool or really socially encouraged to be a Wolves fan.
Mm-hmm.
People weren't up on Nikola Pekovic like that?
The Pekovic love Rubio was maybe a brief time, but they didn't ever even make the playoffs in that.
Yeah, they were ass.
In that season. So I was like, but I've always been a sicko. Like it's the only team I root for. I don't watch football or baseball. And I'm like in the, SB Nation, Canis Hoopus comment sections and shit, looking at just like, oh man, if we could trade for like Martell Webster, we might be able to get the 7th seed next year. I was just wanting any kind of relevance. And so I feel like I'm playing with house money a little bit.
You know who's underrated? John Krasinski.
It was built up. It was built up to set, like they got built up to a certain expectation. And so I'm like, this season's been frustrating, but it hasn't, I feel like there's so much promise. And especially over the last month, Jaden has stepped up incredibly. Nas has stepped up incredibly. So it really looks like that sort of Ant, Jaden, Nas trio, all under 26 still, is like really, really locked in. Those 3 guys are best friends. Like I'm really excited to watch them for the next, hopefully like 5 years.
Yeah, that's like, that core makes way more sense to me. Like, Rudy Gobert seems more interested in ending Wokizme than like defending the rim or like doing anything. That's a funny thing, thinking about how like Cat and Ant are friends, and like everyone in the NBA thinks Ant is like the coolest and best player of all time. They also all like hate Rudy Gobert, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what's so crazy. And Towns too, kind of to a certain extent. It was sort of like the most. And I don't even think Ant was getting to be overrated. I just thought like some of the compare, like the MJ things, I was starting to just be a little bit nervous. Like, yo, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But it was the most kind of like gassed up player in the league with the 2 like most misunderstood, partly due to their own foibles players. And it was such a strange dynamic. And same with like Nas is almost on the Ant thing where, like I was at like a Warriors game and people, Warriors fans were just like, man, Nas Reed's fucking hooping, Like people like Pat, like just like random people love Nas Reed because he's such an exciting player.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Well, I was just like thinking back to my original theory. I think Anthony Edwards is kind of overrated, but like you said, it's just because he aesthetically looks like MJ. It's like the overratedness comes from this like totally understandable place of just like the people who play the game most beautifully like should be the best. And I think that like I can sort of get down with that level of that sort of revanchism because it's like coming from this place of like wanting the basketball to look good. Mm-hmm. In the same way that like Cat has always been underrated, as you said. And I think if that is like the thesis and antithesis, is the synthesis then just like playing all these young guys and actually playing like a more like I watch them, they're like athletic, they run around, they play kind of like the Rockets or the Thunder a little bit. Yeah. Like they play like this like young guy hyperball shit. And so I sort of just wonder like how like specifically does Ant fit into that, and like how are you feeling about like the team playing that way with, like you said, like with Jaden locked in and like sort of this like stylistic evolution?
Yeah, I think actually like the Twin Towers, Mike Conley era might be more looked at as like an interlude. And when you start to like zoom out on Ant's career, because even pre that was like when we made the playoffs and like should have beat Memphis in that 7-2 series.
That was a great series.
That was a lot. That was the fly around young man ball too, because that was Pat Beverly and Jared Vanderbilt playing this crazy trap defense and starting these games with all these fast breaks, getting all these turnovers, this like fly around defense, Cat playing center.
You just like weren't allowed to dribble against them. It was like, especially with Memphis too, it was just like two teams trying to get to like 45 points first and just beat the shit out of each other. It was great.
Patrick, to your point about this Wolves team and series kind of being representative of the larger NBA, where I really agree with this take is that we've experienced, I think, this season a lurch around what was the hypothetical trappings of the new CBA kind of like starkly became real this year. And what used to be the collectively understood way you build a team in the NBA is like you want to corral everything for a like dynastic run, like a 3 to 4 year dynastic run. And that was the totally understood like Twin Towers, like we're going to have young Ant, we're going to have this Twin Towers situation, we're going to build around him, that's going to be our dynastic run. But then the realities of the punitive cap, which is at its core an anti-dynastic, change, has left the Wolves in this situation where they're like a dog running on hardwood, where they're like like trying to turn in real time, because and I feel you feel for them in a little bit, because sometimes, like with Dallas, we're seeing this like extreme, like maniacally evil, like anti-fan blow up, right? That's just like, oh Jesus Christ, you traded Luka. The Wolves, despite their sort of bizarre ownership, there is like they're trying to figure out the right way to maneuver under the cap, and they're like trying to still be good, and they traded back for good players, like they didn't blow it up.
It
just didn't quite. It hasn't worked.
Well, the motivation for the Rudy trade was, at least from their like perspective, was we need Ant playing playoff games from very early in his career. We want him playing in big series very early in his career. So they're almost trying to do a multiple window thing like the Warriors have. Mm-hmm. And that has kind of blown up in their face this year, because this year they weren't fully committed to a sort of like gap year. We're not going to be contenders. And so then then you play Rob Dillingham a lot at the beginning of the season.
Right.
Find out what you have. But this year they're still trying to be like, no, we're still contenders. We don't believe in gap years. Ant can still take us. But then it's like, Rudy Gobert's declining because he's old. Mike Conley's kind of fallen off a cliff. We don't really have a backup point guard besides Dillingham. So then it's like Nikhil, Dante, Ant, point guard by committee. That doesn't work. And so they've tried to like do 2 timelines, but then also really try to maximize Ant's prime. And so the Towns thing was basically, if you kept Towns, you couldn't sign Nas or Nikhil long term.
Right.
And so that's but it's so, I don't know, it's so frustrating.
Well, the shifting window thing is super interesting, because like the way to, well, not like the biggest way to win now, but like the most interesting way to win now is to like do like what like the Magic or Rockets, or like we talk about this all the time. And it's like they kind of not backed into, but like because Connolly and that front office are so good at identifying talent, they have like accidentally, like the way to win is like to have the gap year team really hit.
Right.
And like the Dillingham trade was so fascinating to me for so many reasons. One, like I love little jittery point guard guys who can just like do crazy moves, are like my favorite players to watch. But also trading a 2031 pick for the 8th pick in a bad draft is interesting for both like keeping your window open reasons, but also like the benefit of someone like Rob is that he will be on his rookie contract for several more years under the CBA. So if he hits, you could have this window of him super cost controlled for 2 seasons. And again, like the way to think about all this is to start with ownership. And so now that arbitration is done and the Lori Rodriguez hedge fund
regime,
not really private equity, but like certainly equity that is not exactly public. Just like, how do you feel having ownership A, settled, B, settled in this direction, and then like that, all of that vis-a-vis the CBA?
Yeah. It's really like I was telling you over text, like I am like almost, I don't think they're going to move the team. That's sort of like a rumor, and it's like it's not. But
aren't they going to build a new arena?
Yeah, and they have said in multiple public statements that it's going to be privately financed.
Right.
We'll see about that. But like I would be willing to wager on like the end of the Timberwolves franchise with new ownership. I would put that chip in the table because it's like, what do we have to show for it? Glenn Taylor is the worst, like legitimately the worst owner in major pro sports if we're judging by winning percentage. Like the Wolves are the worst team in any of the 4 leagues in North American male pro sports. So it's like it can't be really worse than that.
And you can't really argue that it's incidental either with like all the disastrous coaching and front office hires and just like running. Like KG has his Celtics jersey retired, but like does not have his Wolves jersey retired. Like that's so crazy.
Like I told Patrick this, Harry, like there are 2 owners who have been suspended by the NBA, Donald Sterling and Glenn Taylor.
What did Glenn Taylor get suspended for?
He
tried to build like a nuclear power plant on top of the arena.
He did an under the table illegal off the book CBA deal for a role player named Joe Smith.
Wow.
Which cost us first round picks for 4 years for much of KG's prime.
That like ruined the KG era team.
The KG era. Like him and Kevin McHale did that, who was the GM. Kevin McHale kept him around for way too long. Famously, when he hired the infamous David Kahn, that was a suggestion from David Stern. He just asked David Stern, like, who should I hire as my GM?
You got any guys?
Like, he's such a dumbass at owning a team. He picked like a finding agency to pick Gerson Rosas, the guy we had before Connolly, who was actually kind of good, but then
was he doing sex stuff?
Yeah, he got exposed making out with an underling at a Minnesota United soccer game in like a box, like real hot boy shit. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're both married, and he's just in public, like making out with it.
MLS is very romantic, so I can see.
Now he is, if I believe,
general manager doing fucking tongue kissing.
Gerson is in the Knicks front office now.
Okay, there you go.
Then Glenn Taylor sells the team to Laurie and A-Rod, but they do this really weird 2.5-year payment plan. Tranches. But so then Laurie and A-Rod hire Tim Connelly. They go big game hunting, they do this split, which is kind of nice because it seems like they almost got the new owner syndrome out of the way.
Right.
See what they do. But
give Tim Connelly equity in our team.
Yeah, exactly.
Accidentally drafting Jokic.
They do this big trade that seems like a disaster the first year and then is good the next year. And it's like, okay, we have Anthony Edwards, and it's like he sold the team for $1.5 billion, which I think was less than it was worth even at the time. And then the team itself improved, but then the valuation of just all NBA franchises has gone up. So I think partly was that he may have had shareholders or investors like giving him shit to just be like, you just fucked this up so badly. Like, you could have made so much more money. And so then Glenn basically just goes like, oh, just kidding. You guys missed one of the payment plans.
Your tranches were late.
Were late, which is like, Simmons put it well, like he couldn't even fucking sell his team correctly. It was so bad that even till the very end. So they arbitrator ruled. And so I'm just like, these, like, Laurie and A-Rod they don't seem all the way trustworthy. Like the tranches part, it is a certain thing where you're just like, why couldn't you pay in full? Like,
it's
why
broke mindset
like that?
I'm not paying for anything in tranches, dude. I'm paying for my Noah pocket tees in cash up front.
A-Rod is like, historically not the most trustworthy guy, but again, the bar that you're going at is so low that if there's just a baseline level of like competence and getting out of their own way, and like they hired a good guy. And the other thing I should include is that Tim Connelly signed a contract with an opt-out after this year, so he was essentially waiting for the ownership decision. I would expect him to sign long-term soon enough, like once they officially get the team. So I'm like cautiously optimistic, but more so like that we needed to get rid of that demon from the franchise. Like that needed to be done.
And the thing I was just thinking about that's really interesting with all this is like Ant is signed for like 5 more seasons, right? Like there's no like, if the ownership gets fucked up, like he'll ask out, or he could ask out still. But it's like,
that was like the nightmare scenario for sure. Yeah.
So that makes me feel good about like their long-term stability there. I also wonder, like, have the young guys been good enough that when Randall and DiVincenzo come back, like are the vibes too good for them to fuck up, I guess is my question.
That is the talk.
The eternal question.
The talk amongst Wolves fans right now is, does Randall start when he comes back? Because Nas has been so good in January and February. Like, he's playing against the Thunder, he had the best game of his career. He had 27, 13, and 7 assists. And he's the long-term guy. And so it's like, dude, and I actually think Randall is pretty good as like a 6-man scorer, just like punishing backup fours in the post and like kind of running backup point guard a little bit.
Yeah.
Like in his spots, and we can get to the salt shaker analogy with Randall, but I do think that they need to they've been playing a tight 8-man rotation, and they need to do a more matchup dependent 9, 10, 11 thing like the Thunder do, or like what the Grizzlies do or something. Like the Grizzlies have 2 rookies starting, or at least when they played the Wolves, they did. And it's like, we started Jalen Clark started a game. Dillingham has started a game because Conley's starting to take more time off. So it is, Terrence Shannon Jr. had a great game against the Thunder. So I really hope that they don't go back to the really tight 8-man. That could seem like it could fuck things up, because the young dude, it's just like the injection of energy is so infectious. So
it's hard because if you're Randall, of course, I totally get it,
Yeah.
And if you're Randall, you're like, I don't care about the future of this team.
Not my problem.
I am was a second team All NBA like 18 months ago. I'm not coming off the fucking bench.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's hard because it's like, it's not even like, hey, can you buy in for the team? He's like, no, I don't know you guys. So we'll see. I mean, it'll be an interesting thing.
Randall has a player option, and we didn't trade him at the trade deadline, which means that he could hold us hostage if he opts in, and we would lose Nas. Or now it's sort of the expectation is that he is traded on draft night, or he's traded before, like after the season before it. So, but that is a real, it's been tough. I mean, Randall was sort of unfairly scapegoated at the beginning of the season, but he started to fit more, and he has there has been some games that we wouldn't have won without him. Like, he is good, but so this is, I saw it on Twitter, and I can't remember who did it. It might have even been a Knicks fan talking about Randall, but I felt like it was so perfect. Like, if you watch him, it's like the broken salt shaker. It's like you're seasoning a dish, like you're seasoning your offense, and you're like, oh, it's a perfect Julius Randle, and then the salt shaker top falls off. And you're like, oh, fuck. And now the offense is ruined because you he's not good enough to carry an entire offense by himself, but his game is so ISO heavy. It takes 15 seconds off the shot clock for one possession from him that it can carry you for a quarter, or he could win games for you, but it then becomes too much of a center of gravity that he then ruins your offense and makes it extremely stagnant. Too much this season is the end of games is just Ant and Julius trading off really, really shitty ISOs.
I guess that's another larger structural lesson you could learn just by watching the Wolves this season, is that the only really damaging play style, and this is becoming increasingly true with every season, and as someone who is now watching Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan do that 45 times a night, is the worst way to play is slow. Unless you are literally Nikola Jokic, you can't just sit there and dribble the basketball for that long. Because the good teams are the ones who just play fast. It's quick decisions. It's 1 second, pass.
Yep. And that's what
he's just totally incapable of doing that.
Ball movement. The ball movement is way, way better when the young guys are in.
Okay, I want to throw a few kind of final Wolves takes at you, which I've been kind of sitting on and accumulating over the years, and also this episode. First one, I have long believed that the Karl Anthony Towns is corny PR campaign started, unfortunately, with the anecdote in the lead of an essay about Mac Miller that regained popularity after he died, in which the essay is about Mac Miller, but it starts with a anecdote about Karl Anthony Towns barging in on Mac Miller while he's like trying to relax and asking for an autograph. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Piece?
How can I read this essay?
I think it's a Rembert Brown essay, a profile of Mac Miller, but
that is very unsurprising.
I believe it is. It all started. That's where like the cultural machine started turning against him. Second thing, Luka Garza, I believe, invented the Pinoy Step and doesn't get enough credit for it.
Wait, what's that?
He was the first guy to do the slow Euro step where you stop and pause and then you like lay it up last second. And nobody knows. It was Luka Garza. He was the first guy to do it.
Did you say the Hanoi, like
isn't that
city in Vietnam?
People call it,
I never heard of this move.
I have not heard of it called the Hanoi Step. That's kind of sick, but
yeah,
I just thought it as like the slow down, and I know
the slow Euro step.
Yeah,
maybe it was invented by a Vietnamese guard, judging by the name, but I think it was Luka Garza.
Yeah, and when Ant started doing it, and he's like, "Yeah, I got that from Luka." Like,
yes, he said it.
Wow. Wait, didn't Luka Garza's dad spend some time in jail for weird financial crimes like 20 years ago?
Oh shit! It's called the Pinoy Step. So it's not.
Okay.
Oh, so it's Filipino.
There you go. Okay, I knew it was. Yes, I knew it was named after a place. Hanoi, Pinoy.
That is that doesn't. I know Garza's dad is very involved. Like he's definitely like a presence.
Yeah, he's around.
He's around in his career. I didn't know he went to jail for financial crimes. That's pretty funny.
I don't really know anything else about that.
30 months in jail. You hate to see it.
That does not reflect well on Karl Anthony Towns. Is that I do know for a fact he is a fan and maybe even a personal friend of the Minnesota rapper Young Gravy, who I hope either of you have heard of. It looks like you have.
I've heard of Young Gravy. Yeah. He's part of a new unbecoming class of people who are rappers that appear on major Los Angeles podcasts. Just something I think is disgusting.
Yeah, is he somehow affiliated with like the Barstool Sports?
Cyclone of shit? Certainly, but not literally.
He came. This is actually funny. One of my friends was his camp counselor as a kid.
I'm completely unsurprised by that.
He came out of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, which is a very Barstool stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely of that sort of.
Or if we can even say that anymore, maybe freaking Big Cat didn't even go to Wisconsin. We don't know. But with all this chicanery going on with his past, what's to say?
I gotta read that. This is great. I had no idea about that Towns anecdote.
Yeah.
Wait, my final Wolves question is: when Ant dunked on Chet the other day, which is a great dunk, you texted me that Chet was letting his Minnehaha show. What does that mean?
Minnehaha, which is it's a creek in Minneapolis.
Hydrology chat.
The name of his high school is he went to Minnehaha Academy, which is like him and Jalen Suggs both went to this school, and they kind of made it this athletic powerhouse because Jalen Suggs was also an incredible quarterback. That previous to them going there, I did not associate it with sports. It's like a small private school that they're not big. They play in like one of the smaller like tiers for schools in Minnesota. But no, I sort of have this like, not like love-hate because it's not in either of those extremes, but sort of like I like Chet, and then I also like to like when he tries to do his like, crazy ass white boy, I'm like low-key hood thing. It's like, bro, like I know the name. Like,
54 from tray ball, OD shooting hang poles is tough.
Exactly. Yeah. I've seen you at the Mall of America Zunies, dude.
And I'm kind of like, I'm like, he is very like white boy from Minneapolis. Like that is actually kind of an archetype. So it's not like, but no, it was funny. I don't know if Ant said welcome home to him afterwards. Like he did talk shit to him like directly afterwards.
That's so sick. Yeah.
But yeah, I did get to see, I've told Patrick this before. I saw Chet and Jalen play against Bronny play against Sierra Canyon.
Ooh, in high school?
In high school, and they fucked them up. It was at Target Center, and
That's cool.
But on Minnehaha, they became such a powerhouse that players were moving there to play for them, including one Percy Miller, Master P, moved his family to Minneapolis and enrolled his 2 sons, Hersey and Mercy, at Minnehaha Academy.
Respect.
I think they're probably in college. They're probably playing college ball somewhere. But there was a moment in that game where Master P and LeBron's son were guarding each other. I thought that was kind of cool.
That's really
beautiful.
cool. Yeah. Fuck. Okay. Any final words on the Wolves before we transition to our media corner of today's episode? Great.
That's all I got.
We took it all down. Okay. This really sent me on a journey. This is for those to peeling back the curtain here. This is the largest section of notes I wrote for the episode. There's like a small dossier here. I want to, and let me back up. Eamon told me that Big Baby Davis, who played in the NBA, played at LSU, and then got involved in a medium profile controversy a few years ago for defrauding the NBA's health insurance scheme, along with a few other NBA players
For like millions of dollars.
Yeah, for millions of dollars. Yeah, is and he is going to jail. He's going to jail, I think, for maybe like the sentence is like 30 months. It's something like that. But he had a sit down. Cameron, the rapper and podcaster, has an exclusive sit-down interview with Big Baby Davis right before going to jail, and that's like the medium in which he decided to give his final pre-jail interview. That then sent me on such a journey through the Cameron media empire that I want to just like walk you guys through some of this, and then we can actually talk about the whole thing.
His show they're good, right? Like, you like this stuff? Because everything I've watched is pretty great.
I do want to say this at the top because I will be critical of some structural stuff that's going on with the with the Cameron, Maze universe. I think they are excellent. They are so funny. I think Cameron is hilarious, and I actually think we were just talking about this before we started recording. I actually think the sit-down interview is good. Like, I think Cameron is talented. I mean, I love him as a rapper, but I also just think he's a talented, creative guy. Okay, I'll say at the top. The entire thing appears to be sponsored by something called, I think, Pink Panther Juice, which is
Pink Horsepower.
Pink Horsepower, which is
jotted that down too. I definitely noted that. Yeah,
it is a erectile dysfunction juice, of which Cameron gleefully says, "I'm not just the CEO, I'm a user."
So I looked. It's actually a powder. It's a powder.
Okay, got it. Thank you for fact checking me on. This is important. Yeah.
Dick powder.
It's dick powder.
It's like ginseng. I looked at it's like ginger, turmeric, and ginseng.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wellness.
And Cameron is like interrupting the interview with Big Baby Davis to give direct to camera addresses for the dick powder. And then like returning, okay.
And then he goes like, "And I'm a customer."
Yes. And then the other kind of important thing about the just to set the scenes here too is Cameron. One of his extremely endearing qualities is he says pause anytime there's something like remote, even like sort of
just constantly
of homoeroticism. But he doesn't say it when he's giving the dick juice thing. Like, so he's saying pause about everything else except when he's like. Yeah, when I get my dick hard thanks to this powder. Okay, so I am a podcast consultant, and I bring this up because I am fairly literate in like understanding the kind of looking at from the outside, looking at the way a podcast network or the way a set of podcasts is set up, and it kind of like me figuring out, okay, like this is how they're set up. The Cameron universe is completely impenetrable. I cannot figure out who owns it. I can't figure out anything about how they run it. It is extremely confusing. I will walk you through this. When you go to the the website, the YouTube channel that hosts this sit-down interview is called the You're Welcome Network, okay? But, confusingly, the icon is You're Welcome, and then the banner image says Talk with Flea. So there are two different things. Then when you click into this sit-down interview, it is actually a third style of internet show called Flealand, okay? The Flealand interview is under a podcast playlist, which is called Talk with Flea, but features certain elements of Flealand and certain elements of Talk with Flea, which are two different podcasts under the same playlist. Then there is another in the kind of Your Welcome Network podcast universe. There is something called Story Time with Killa, which is a separate interview situation, which has 4 videos, 2 of which appear to be a mini documentary about a comedian named Faces that Cameron sold crack to in the early 2000s. And then the documentary appears to be many, many years old, but was added to YouTube about 2 months ago. Inexplicably, in this network, no branding associated with the Talk with Flea, with Flealand, or with the Your Welcome Network. Now, all of this is, again, important because Cameron's podcast is not called Your Welcome or Talk with Flea. The primary podcast is called It Is What It Is. Okay?
Right.
The It Is What It Is podcast is a separate YouTube channel that is linked to this YouTube channel, but it gets more confusing because if you go to the sub channel of the Your Welcome Network where you are going to the It Is What It Is podcast, when you click into the It Is What It Is podcast, there are then 2 separate names. There is It Is What It Is, which is the branding, but again, the banner is a new podcast called Come and Talk to Me. And if you then look closer, the URL for the It Is What It Is podcast page is at Come Talk to Me. So it is totally impenetrable. There are like 9 different podcasts that are all sort of nominally Cameron addressing his audience, some of which have Maze, some of which have a rotating cast of people, all of which are sponsored by this dick pill, and all of which are recorded, appear to be recorded inside of the Wynn in Las Vegas.
We know that the rumors of Thomas Pynchon's death can't be true because he clearly consulted on this labyrinthine nonsense podcast death structure.
It is so. There is no website. There is no ability to get anywhere. It's completely unclear who funds any of this. It is unclear by watching any individual video which of these shows it is a part of. There is an internal logic that appears to be at play that is completely impossible to follow.
Do you think it's a case of just like adding shit? He's just like, we're just like building the plans we find. It's just like, oh, let's change the name, but it's in the same series as this because it's like still me doing it or something like that. Like, I
do think essentially yes. Like my sense, if I had to guess, is that it Is What It Is podcast was a experiment, and it was a successful experiment because Cameron's good and talented. And then they are sort of like haphazardly building out a network, but doing it in a way where like sometimes you try to follow the logic of what the sort of shadow logic of algorithm recommendation juicing rather than like literal logic. And so there you get these, you know, like snake oil salesman people who will be like, well, if you link your YouTube to a bigger YouTube page, that can possibly get you discoverable. But it's just like you start following that logic again instead of following like what literally is going on. So
yeah, this feels like money laundering to me, but in like a way
it's
that
like attention economy money laundering.
Yeah, in a way that like doesn't seem to work or like something that I am like capable of understanding.
I agree. I mean, again, like he's putting asses in seats. People do seem to be watching. Like it all seems to be whatever. And I applaud Cameron for expanding his what he's doing. But yeah, it is baffling.
expanding and increasing the density. It's like not so much expanding outward, but just acquiring more and more mass in the same space of names, to the point that like I can imagine a future Cameron show where it's like 5 people all talking over each other all at once, sort of having like different conversations. Like there's a real sort of like post-truth and post-structure, you know, if you wanted to take this argument to its far extreme.
Yes. No,
maybe he's innovating on the very form of storytelling, you know?
No, there is a real like avant-garde kind of like getting rid of the sort of consensus containers and kind of like making sense of it in an artistic way. Yeah, I agree. It is complete. It could easily be described as post-structure.
He's been doing this for a few years now, right?
He's definitely been in the like media game for a few years. Yeah, I mean his podcast has been around for a little while, and that's actually the other funny, to your point of like things just being stacked on top of each other. There does not appear to be any substantial topic differences. They are talking about the same stuff in every single show, but naming the shows different things.
See, I love that. I feel like that's an inversion. Most podcasts, you know, you have a name and you talk about different stuff. This is like, what if we just invert that form? And what if the thing people really come to podcasts for are the names?
It's
working.
Yeah. And then I'm again like the titles are completely post logic and sort of like evading any kind of understanding of what you, it seems to be explicitly not operating under the assumption that you will read what the title is. Like like reading it, the title will get in the way of understanding what the content is.
That's a good bet in 2025, honestly.
But okay, let's talk briefly before we wrap up about the actual interview, because the interview again, it's pretty. It's a very, again, totally avant-garde interview style where he's sitting, asking Big Baby about setting the record straight. Again, Cameron does a great job of like slowing down and kind of like asking a bunch of helpful questions and squeezing out some kind of context for what happened with Big Baby Davis. He does tell this.
Like, I just want to make sure. Yeah. Because just to clarify, just because people don't know, like he's like doing good fucking TV interviewing.
He is. He totally is. A few highlights from this interview. One is Big Baby Davis saying, when I made $1 million from the NBA, I put $1 million in cash on a bed and had sex with 2 women on it, which is just incredible to say that. Like,
and then subtly is like, I paid them.
Yes.
For it.
And
he's just kind of like, so did they get the whole $1 million? And he's like, they got a little 10.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he was like, I broke them off. So I'm like, that is the promise of player podcasts that we will, of course, never get. Like, we'll only
you're not
going
to get that disclosure, nor the like beautiful sort of like performance and self-awareness of that in like the sit-down athletic profile or whatever.
Right. He told this really bizarre story about wrestling Shaq. Where he apparently there was there's been some reporting on this, but he told his side of the story, which is one of my favorite parts, is that he basically says he was kind of stalking Shaq and then was at LSU's campus, and a fellow mentor of them invited him over for spaghetti, and Shaq was there, and they started wrestling, and Big Baby Davis pinned, at that point, LSU starting center Shaquille O'Neal to the ground.
Wow.
Which is awesome.
Anytime an LSU booster is inviting you over for like a spaghetti and wrestling night, that's like that's something that'll appear in a Superior Court document in 18 months.
Exactly.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's Yellow King-ish.
It really is. Exactly, it was Carcos-esque. And then, I mean, like there's some of the other stuff about like him not getting along with Doc, which I thought was kind of interesting. Doc calling security on him, which I did not know about.
I didn't hear that part.
And then the node of all of this insurance fraud was the big three, which is like that was kind of funny.
Oh,
That
I was part too. Huh.
yeah, the way the doctor who kicked off the insurance fraud like recruited all of them was through the big three. He was the big three's doctor.
That is the least surprising shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like the guy who started the big three with Ice Cube is like Steve Bannon's old homie. Jeff
Is that
Paul.
true?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god.
I've
They're
done
everywhere.
some reporting on the big three through a different story, but
Was that the Royce White thing?
yeah, through the Bannon connection. Yeah. Partly how, we don't, that is a rabbit hole, but
I'm sure.
but I thought the Big Baby Davis part was very interesting. And I was telling Harry this before we started recording. It made me feel old as fuck, was him talking about, he asked him like, when did you sort of have a moment of like it was like, what was your welcome to the league moment kind of question? But
Gentlemen's welcome to the league
takes
moment.
it in a very deep direction. He goes like, it was the year after, the summer after Katrina, and we were in Baton Rouge, and I was like the captain of the team, and the coach was like, it's your team now. And then I kind of like led all of my teammates and like helping out at the Superdome and like doing this like kind of mutual aid volunteering shit. And that was like that was the year before their Final Four run. And I was just like, oh wow, I didn't have those things in my brain together as their Final Four run being so soon after Katrina. But that Final Four run, it was him and Tyrese Thomas, and I'm forgetting their point guard they had. But that was like, I had picked them in my bracket. That was like my favorite team because I, as a Husky boy, admire the big guys that are light on their feet, like Big Baby Davis. So that was just a very interesting story to hear.
Yeah.
The one thing I remember about that team, it was, I think in their Elite Eight game, there was an LSU player was shooting free throws, and the rest of the team got back on defense, except Big Baby was like, these four guys can't box me out. And he got a free throw rebound over them.
Oh, really?
That's like the one play that I remember Big Baby ever making in his basketball career.
I just remember when they beat Duke in the Sweet 16.
I think it might have been that game.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all we've got.
Harry, thank you for laying out all of those names. As you were playing that, it was just like the Money Longer intro was just playing in my head, just louder and louder as you kept saying different names and going further down the rabbit hole.
It really was. I was laughing so much at everything about this. I mean, again, like Cameron, like I encourage anybody to check out the clip of Cameron talking to Coach K talking about Coach K and insinuating
It's so good.
Coach K's got mad banks in North Carolina. He is one of those kind of like singularly charismatic he's got like a Jeff T kind of like floating above this like cooked apparatus, but in doing it in a way that is actually like super compelling to me. So yeah, please go check out It Is What It Is or any of Cameron's media entities, and go check out Nothing But Respect, and go check out Eamon's writing. Eamon, where can the people follow you? Where should they be consuming your writing?
I haven't written for a while, but I do have some stuff. I do have some stuff cooking. I guess Twitter, and I had a moment the other day where I was like, I should make a Blue Sky account, and then I already had one, so I do have.
There you go. Yeah. Well, we'll link to whatever.
My name EAMONWHALEN.
We should link the Royce White story.
Yes.
That one's really great.
Oh yeah. I wrote 2 years ago, wrote a profile of the enigmatic former NBA first round pick turned Bannon MAGA Senate candidate Royce White. So check that out.
Yeah, it's great.
Hell yeah.
NBA writing.
Beautiful. And what about you, Patrick? You got anything cooking?
Just the normal stuff. Just blogging for Defector.
Defector.com. A great website. I have nothing other than this podcast, but freaking keep liking and subscribing. I gotta say, the Nothing But Respect Army is growing steady. We're we haven't quite reached the highest levels of government yet, but that's a third step.
We'll get there.
Yeah. But yeah. So keep. Thank you for all the support and for listening and all of that stuff. And frickin', we will see you next week.
All right.
Woo.
Good shit.